So it's just gone 10 past 7 Wednesday evening, and we're going to have a look at the latest weather information with a very interesting 24 hours of weather ahead and some more interesting weather possibly the weekend as well. So here's the latest Met Air and radar. As you can see, some rain, sleet, and snow already pushing in from the west. It will fall as snow, especially in parts of the west, but then it will start to turn to sleet and snow, and it already has some reports of light snow already in parts of the west. Now, there's a lot of weather warnings. I'm not going to go through each one of them, but just to be aware that there is different weather warnings. So we have the snow and ice warning, which is for snow, and then we have a snow and rain warning, which is obviously for snow and rain, and then we have the low temperature warning. So just check which county you're in. The Waterford and Cork snow rain is an unusual one because there will be some areas that will see very heavy rain and some areas that will see a mix and some areas that will see more snow. So there is a risk of some significant snowfall, but there's also a risk of some significant rain. Now, one of the things that I have been sharing is this assembled forecast. Now, this is a little bit complicated to follow, but what has been happening is it's been moving north further and further and further. So if we look here at the greater than 5 millimeters, you can see the purple area has grown significant. For example, pretty much the bottom southern half of the country, even a little bit more, is now likely to see more than 5 millimeters. But more than 10 millimeters is also more significant area, and 20 millimeters, there's quite a few areas there, especially higher land, but down in parts of the south could see over 30 millimeters. Now, remember, a lot of that is going to be rain. It's not all going to be snow. The Cumber Mountains could see over 40 millimeters. So, significant rainfall and significant snow. Now, just to show you in terms of the general picture of what we're looking at here, the different weather models will show different resolutions. They'll show this band coming in and turning to snow as it pulls away. But we need to be looking at the higher resolution weather models. So if we look at this weather model here, this is the Harmony weather model. It shows us basically a break. So the green is rain. The kind of orange is a mix of rain and snow, and then the blues are snow, and the red is ice. So if we go through this, just to give you an idea, this is at 2 o'clock in the morning. You can see there's rain in the south, a mix of rain and snow, and then as we pull away, you can see more snow on the back edge of that. But it will be falling as rain in some areas. So it's very hard to forecast how much snowfall is going to accumulate because a lot of snow might fall, but some of it will melt. Now, this is a chart. Huge health warning with this chart. This is a snow depth chart from the high resolution weather model, which is far better than the lower ones. But I think it's overdoing it a bit. If it's not, we're looking at a more really significant snow event here for many areas. It doesn't show much, as you can see in the southwest. It's saying that that's mostly going to be rain, but it is showing some significant snow. If we zoom in here a little bit, just into the south, you can see it's showing 48 centimeters of snow. Now that's on higher ground in the Cumber Mountains, but it is showing lower areas seeing 20 centimeters. But you can see how it varies from 0.5 up to 30 centimeters. Now, if we zoom out again, just out of that, and look back at it, if we go into maybe into the Midlands there a little bit, you can see here it also varies a lot. Big health warning with these, but they do give us an idea of where the higher risk is on this weather model. However, if we look at other weather models, so you can see another one here. So in here, the kind of the pink shading is a mix of snow and rain, and you can see it doesn't bring it as far north. So for example, it doesn't have as much for North Carlow or Kildare or Wicklow, Dublin area, or even the Midlands, and it keeps it further south, which also means that there's a higher risk of sleet and snow in Cork, maybe even parts of Kerry because it has less rain. Here's another one. Again, pink here is snow. So if we look at it here, you can see moving across. Now, it does have quite a bit of rain on the south, but let me just roll it down so you can see a little bit further there. You can see here it turns from rain to snow as it pulls away, and that shows significant snow for parts of Cork in particular. So it's very finely balanced. I mean, you're talking about 50 miles, 70, 80 kilometers of a difference in terms of the impact there, which is really, really hard. This is another high resolution weather model, which is usually a very good weather model, the Army weather model. Now, as we go through this, you can see here, it doesn't bring it as much either further north. So it's not agreeing with the Harmony weather model, and it actually has more snow into parts of Galway, Clare, and Limerick, and then down into Cork and into Kerry even. So again, you can see the variance on these weather models, which means it's really, really difficult. I know it's frustrating for people that just want to know, is it going to snow in my backyard? Unfortunately, it's very, very hard to tell that. So if we look at the bigger picture, you see here this low pressure system. This is what's going to cause this tonight. So if you see the low there in the middle of it, it's actually a system that's mainly heading for France. So if we go through that, you can see some heavy snow into parts of France. But the upper edge of that is basically catching Ireland tonight and tomorrow morning. So that could mean that we could see some significant disruption in the morning, because once this pulls away as well, it is going to be very cold. So as the system comes in, you can see here it brings milder air closer to Ireland, but as that pulls away, the colder air follows back in behind it. Very little thaw tomorrow. Temperatures not getting above 2 to 4 degrees. Some areas might get up to 5, some won't get above 1 degrees. So very little thaw tomorrow, Thursday, and very little thaw either on Friday, because that cold air is staying in place until Friday. So whatever falls tomorrow and sticks and stays there, it's likely to be there until Friday with very little thaw. So it's going to be messy, and even if it doesn't accumulate as snow, if it's a slushy mix of rain and sleet, it's going to freeze. So it's going to be icy. So there is a lot of issues around with that. Now, obviously, it's going to vary hugely. We also should say there is a risk of more snowfall in the north of the country. So just to be careful as well as that, because if we go back here to this, you can see some snow possibly in the north. And if we go forward, you can see possibly more snow appearing in the north as well. Some heavy showers pushing in. So for those in the northern part of the country, they could see some more snowfall coming in there. So that will move off, and on Friday we will have some good, dry weather. But Friday night then we have this next problem coming along, which is this low pressure system. Now it's going to bring milder air with it. It's going to turn to rain very, very quickly. It may well fall as snow at the start, but it's going to quickly turn to rain, and it's going to come through, and it's going to bring strong winds, but a lot of heavy rain. And if we go through here until Sunday, we can see it's sunny spells but showers as that low pulls away. Now the exact details of that could change. So if we look here at the winds, you can see we're missing most of the strong winds tomorrow and Friday, but then as we go through, here you go, Friday night, 6 o'clock Saturday morning, very strong winds. Now the strongest are on the west coast and they're staying out in the Atlantic, but still some very strong winds. And as we go through, you can see there on Saturday some good strong winds, and on Sunday then again more strong winds before that pulls away and eases off through Monday into Tuesday. Now, the good news is that it is going to get milder for those that don't like the cold. The bad news is that's going to thaw whatever snow is on those mountains, especially say in the Cumberland Mountains, and it's going to dump a lot of rain. So that could bring some local flooding issues, especially to areas that see very heavy snowfall followed by heavy rain in the south of the country. So that's another issue to keep an eye on. And as I say, you can see the little milder air comes closer to us, the cold pulls in, but then as we move through Saturday, you can see milder air comes in. Now it's not very mild, and it does turn back to cooler next week. Not as cold, but cooler for the early days next week, but possibly becoming less cold later in the week. So, look, it's a very messy forecast. I appreciate it's very frustrating for people wanting to know what to expect. Loads of messages from people saying, I need to drive here, I need to drive there. You're going to have to play it by ear. You're going to have to look at the radar. You're going to have to see what it's like. But one big message I would give people is, if you're leaving your house to drive for more than say 20-30 minutes, be careful to check the weather where you're heading, because you could be fine where you are and then you drive 20 minutes down the road and it changes very significantly, and you could be kind of like, oh, why did I come here? The other thing is, look, we don't want to be panicking or worrying people. It's a few days of cold weather. It's a few days of snow. If it does come, it'll be gone by Saturday morning. Just, if you have elderly or vulnerable people, make sure they have enough heating, because it is cold. It's not going to be much of a thaw, and we don't want people getting cold. There's no reason in this day and age for people not to be able to get help to heat their home for a few days. So that's the latest update, and I'll have more in the morning. Hopefully things might become a little bit clearer once we get to the early hours of the morning.